Good evening from New York. This is Tuesday, January 4th, 672 days until the 2012 presidential election. If the former CEO of Citigroup has just said of Wall Street regulation that we continue to listen to the same people whose errors in judgment were central to the problem, it might be a bad day for the president to hire as his new chief of staff an executive with J.P. Morgan Chase who opposed the new Consumer Protection Agency. Unless that is, as it is in our fifth story, the president might be trying to counter the Wall Street GOP false narrative that his administration has been estranged from business. First, further confirmation that President Obama is seriously considering William Daley as his new chief of staff. Unnamed Democratic sources telling the Washington Post that the president has met with Daley at least once in person. Mr. Daley was Commerce Secretary under President Clinton, and he's currently the Midwest chairman of J.P. Morgan Chase. Daley was notably against creating a new Consumer Protection Agency when then Chief of Staff Rahm Emanuel called him for his support. That, according to the Wall Street Journal. And Daley was recently critical of the administration's health care reform law, suggesting it was left instead of center-left. Center-left, which Mr. Daley thought the country would have supported. Yes, progressives are crowing about how they put one over on the center-left. And if progressives might have been willing to give the Obama administration the benefit of the doubt on some of its Wall Street-friendly staffing 2 years ago, not anymore, particularly when the door is still revolving. Vice President Joe Biden's chief of staff, Ron Klain, is resigning to become the president of Case Holdings. Case Holdings has a philanthropic arm and an investment firm body. Wall Street's ties to the Obama administration are precisely what helped to dilute real reform. That's according to a devastating piece from Bloomberg News. In it, former co-chief executive officer of Citigroup, John Reed, saying, quote, "We continue to listen to the same people whose errors in judgment were central to the problem," adding, "I'm astounded because we basically dropped the world's biggest economy because of an error in bank management." And he estimated that only 25% of the necessary financial reforms have been enacted. Meantime, Citigroup, Bank of America, J.P. Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, and Morgan Stanley had their best 2 years ever these last 2 years, according to data compiled by Bloomberg News. Time after time, Wall Street's lobbyists and insider influence resulted in the dilution of the most sweeping and necessary reforms, which at various points were actually part of financial regulatory reform packages. From a former chief economist for the International Monetary Fund, quote, "It was very clear by February 2009 that the banks were going to get a free pass." Let's turn to the co-editor of American Prospect magazine, senior fellow at Demos, Robert Kuttner, also the author of A Presidency in Peril, the inside story of Obama's promise, Wall Street's power, and the struggle to control our economic future. Thanks for your time tonight, sir.
Thank you, Keith.
The president may be looking for a CEO type as his next chief of staff, but especially under these circumstances, could he not find a CEO of a company that actually makes stuff instead of getting somebody else, another one from finance?
Well, you know, the funny thing is that you got the guy Daley, who was directly involved with Wall Street. Then you got the other candidate, Gene Sperling, who got almost $900,000 for a part-time job, not a bad gig, with Goldman. So the entire field is limited to Wall Street cronies.
If American business made record profits last year, why is this meme that Obama is anti-business sticking? And more importantly, why does the White House seem to be believing it and playing to it as the candidacies of these two men would suggest?
Well, these guys want zero regulation, and any regulation is too much. I think the more puzzling question is why Obama doesn't stand up and behave more like a leader. You know, Roosevelt famously in 1936 said, "They hate me and I welcome their hatred." Mm-hmm. The single worst statistic out of the 2010 midterm elections was the fact that voters who tended to blame Wall Street for the collapse, and Wall Street richly deserved that blame, were more likely to vote for Republicans. Mm-hmm. That's how closely this administration has gotten itself allied with Wall Street. So this would be a very good time for Obama to stand up and put some distance between himself and Wall Street and say, if they think I'm anti-business, if they think I'm regulating too much, I've only begun to fight, because we need to protect the rest of the American economy from the predations of Wall Street. But we've yet to see him do that.
Well, and certainly there's license provided by that kind of incorrect criticism, isn't there? I mean, if you're thought to be anti-business, certainly you can actually get a few things in there that might actually be, if not anti-business, at least pro-regulation of business.
Well, you might as well be hanged as a sheep, and there's a difference between business and Wall Street. It's Wall Street that took down small business. It's Wall Street that took down the rest of the economy. You can be pro-business in the sense of being pro the rest of the economy by using regulation to protect the rest of the economy from Wall Street. And I think that's a distinction that the average voter would get. The other thing that Wall Street is peddling is this idea that we need to cut Social Security in order to balance the budget. And my sources say that Obama is very, very close to anticipating, preempting the Republicans cutting Social Security before they do, which is just crazy. The Republicans have handed him a wonderful issue on a platter, where you got guys like Lindsey Graham and Ryan of Wisconsin saying, I want to cut your Social Security. This is an invitation for Democrats to stand up and say, they're going to cut your Social Security, I'm not, we're going to defend it. But we haven't seen him do that either.
Is that what is at the heart of all this? Either tank the economy, or presuming that the conspiracy theory doesn't roll back that far, take advantage of the tanking of the economy, and then create a situation in which you do not add at all to the job force. You keep the economy in doldrums, and then come back with this claim that it's all the union's fault. These are all issues we're going to explore throughout the first half hour of the show. But they set this up so that the outcome is gut Social Security and other social services.
Well, that seems to be where it's heading. And obviously, politically, somebody is going to take the fall for the fact that we're in a protracted, severe recession. It's up to this Democratic administration to make sure that the people who brought us the recession take the fall for it. Otherwise, the Democrats end up taking the fall for it, as they did in 2010 midterms, and as they will do in 2012 if they don't drastically turn around their storyline and their policy.
Robert Kuttner of Demos and the American Prospect, great thanks for your time.
Thanks so much.